So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast. And once again, it's just me and Ben. Chris is out on the lash with the work people, and Nia is. What did Nia say? She's busy revising or something.
She got work because of observations tomorrow.
That's it. Because she's trying to become a person in the dental health industry things.
But she wants to work constantly.
Yeah. Anyway.
And get paid shit. NHS.
It depends if you go private or not. Anyway, Brazil, the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It was a spring weekend, so we had FP1. But I'm not bothered about that. I'm more bothered by sprint qualifying that happened afterwards. Where we got the constant will it, won't it on the weather radar, which was good fun. And the bottom five threw up an interesting selection for once. Valtteri Bottas made it out of SQ1 in that tractor of a kick Sauber car again. However, his teammate could not manage to haul himself off the bottom of the leaderboard. He finished 20th once again in the qualifying. Both Aston Martins did not make it out of SQ1, and they were joined by Ocon and Tsunoda. The upgrades / the decision to revert to an old spec of floor for Aston Martin did not appear to be working this weekend. It was announced that they reverted their floor back to the specification that was last used in Japan, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
I think it's about 6 months ago now, which is a bit ridiculous to have to admit that your development has gone that far wrong.
2 years in a row as well.
Yeah. Adrian needs to come and sort this out pretty pronto.
Yeah.
SQ2, Bottas finished 15th, so he made it out of SQ1 but couldn't improve anything beyond that. Franco Colapinto finished 14th. Great support for him there this weekend at what is the closest thing he has to a home Grand Prix. Apparently, every single seat on every single flight out of Buenos Aires to Sao Paulo was booked. There were no spare seats going. Even to the point that the long distance coach journeys were booked up as well.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's another race in Argentina again.
Yeah, we need to upgrade, was it the Oscar and something circuit? Oscar y Juan Alvarez? I'm not sure, I can't remember.
It is the Autodromo Oscar y Juan Alvarez.
I was right, Oscar y Juan Alvarez. So, so that is currently not FIA Grade 1 spec, so we can't go racing there, but that would be cool, because I think there's plenty of options there for layouts and whatever. But no, it was nice to see he had some good support there this weekend, even if he did end up having a bit of a rough weekend. Sergio Perez in 13th. Lovely. Classic.
What he does.
Yep. And Nico Hulkenberg in 12th. And Lewis Hamilton in 11th. Yeah, he lost out by about a 10th. Alex Albon was in 10th, just ahead of him. Then SQ3, Ollie Berman had made a mistake on his flying lap, and then this was one that I thought was odd. because he made his mistake at turn 2, 3 in like right at the start of the lap,
Um,
and if he'd aborted the lap at that point, he still would have had enough time to get around and go again. Just in terms of like clock time remaining in the session. But the team didn't tell him to abort. He didn't abort the lap, so I don't know if he hadn't been fueled up enough to potentially go again,
yeah.
or whatever the reason was. But I feel like that was a bit of a clanger dropped by Haas there, because he ended up not setting a time in that session because of that. So lined up 10th on the grid. Albon in 9th, Liam Lawson in 8th, which is and I suppose in the same vein, Pierre Gasly in 7th. Interesting considering their teammates are 18th and 17th respectively. So 10 places separating them.
Nice. Yeah.
So George Russell in 6th, Sainz in 5th, Verstappen 4th, Leclerc 3rd, Norris 2nd, and Piastri just coming out of nowhere and slapping it on sprint quali pole. That was wild. Yeah. It's pretty much sort of what we expected, I think. Ferrari's up there, Max up there, and the McLaren's up there.
Yeah, in the dry, definitely.
Not quite the order we predicted, but
No.
then we had the sprint, which we had the sort of predictable McLaren order to swap the order, but that came a lot later than I thought it should have done.
Yeah, they had the moment when Verstappen was attacking Charles. It was probably lap 7-ish, around then. I reckon they probably should have done it then.
There was also the whole. There was some fans grumbling online, Red Bull fans particularly, that the timing of the length of time it took to change from a double waved yellow to a virtual safety car when Hulkenberg was already out of his car was too long, and that gave the McLarens the opportunity to swap the order. And apparently that is therefore McLaren bias or whatever. But all I'm going to say is, if it had happened quicker, while Max had the momentum of what he had, the Red Bull fans would then be complaining that they brought it out too soon. They didn't give him the chance to attack. Blah 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 blah. So like, you can't have your cake and eat it. You know.
Yeah,
They had to pull it out at some
about
point.
fucking team orders as well. So, go back a decade ago.
Yeah.
Felipe, Alonso is faster than you. Right.
So
take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know why it took them so long to fly the VSC. Maybe they were trying to determine what equipment was needed to move the car and what equipment was available nearby. Like, did they need to get a tractor across the circuit, in which case you'd need a full safety car to bunch the field up to get the tractor over instead of the VSC, or what? But in my opinion, just throw the VSC if you know that, like, Nico was already out of the car. So just throw the VSC as soon as you see that. Then the race is, like, neutralized at that point, and then you've got a little bit more time to just decide if you need that full safety car or not. There's nothing against, like, there's no problem with going to a VSC and then upgrading it to a safety car. But they just don't seem to use that as the option. It seems to be, it has to be, they seem to take the approach of it has to be one or the other. You can't do one and transition into. So, yeah, I don't know. In my opinion, yes, it did take them too long to throw the VSC out. But that's just the race director. Like, that's not even the stewards.
Cup of tea,
Yeah, quite.
you know.
He was waiting for the kettle to boil.
Yeah.
But like, that's my opinion. But I don't have all the facts and figures available at my fingertips. I have only what
But
we've seen on the broadcast.
It's like at the moment anyone sees like a yellow flag pop up, it was like safety car instantly. It's like you need still like I get within 10-20 seconds ish. But it did feel like the whole weekend the race director and stewards were all very slow. I understand that point.
Yeah. But what can you do? You just have to play it to the same. Like,
isn't it? Yeah.
They say in all other sports you play to the whistle, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what
you just gotta go with the decisions as they come. So if you want to complain about it afterwards, complain about it afterwards. Make a written complaint, but like, it's the race director's decision at the end of the day, and if he can justify it in terms that the seniors at the FIA are content with, then the FIA will back the race director and tell everyone else it was at his discretion. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty moot point in terms of the Red Bull fans complaining. Like, I think they'd have complained either way. In the same way that I think if Norris was behind Max, there would have been complaints from some McLaren fans either way, you know?
Yeah.
So there would have been complaints of like, oh, they're protecting Max's championship, blah, 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 blah. No, like, they're not. Like, just get on with it. We don't need more
they don't have to.
Well, no, quite, exactly. Norris does that for him. Like, did you see the article about what Jos Verstappen said during the week?
No.
Oh.
I tried to think.
So one of the driver stewards at the Mexican Grand Prix was Johnny Herbert. British.
Right, I see where this is going.
Another of the driver stewards at the Mexican Grand Prix is ex-McLaren. Max gets 20 seconds of time penalties. Jos starts claiming that there's bias.
Go back to 21, Jos. Then you just fucking see.
So, yeah. It's one of...
Although it's not really bias, it's just incompetence. So...
Bit of both. Yeah.
Well, if it was bias, it would happen on a consistent basis, wouldn't it? So...
I think it's because the driver stewards are the ones that rotate round, you know? So... Oh. And they weren't... Those two, I don't think, were present for the American Grand Prix. I'm not sure on that. I would have to check that. But I think that's what he's trying to allude to. But either way. Yeah, needs to shut up, basically.
Yeah. He has now anyway. He's happy now.
So. Yeah. So, the sprint is obviously on the Saturday before the qualifying, and sort of during the end of the sprint, they were like, oh, it's getting a bit darker. Threat of rain on the radar, blah, blah, blah. No rain ever actually like materialised during the sprint, but qualifying... yeah, qualifying just didn't happen on Saturday. It absolutely chucked it down. The racetrack became a river. And they took the decision to postpone qualifying to Sunday morning, which led to a very amusing post from Formula One on their social media about the 5 previous occasions that qualifying was held on a Sunday. Now, what similar thing happened on all 5 occasions that qualifying was held on a Sunday?
A German got pole.
A German got pole, which led to everyone in the comments coming to the same conclusion that Nico Hulkenberg was destined to put it on pole.
It's the fact that Crofty was like, well, he's done it before in 2010. He was winning here in 2012. Q1, Hulkenberg gone.
Hopes and dreams shattered. To be fair, though, it was quite hilarious to just see everyone reach the same conclusion in the comment section of just like, it's gonna be Hulkenberg. So it's like the one time that an F1 comment section had complete unity.
Yeah.
Every other post is just like all out carnage, chaos, war. This one, Nico. Yeah, brilliant. But alas, he could not qualify any higher than 19th. Zhou Guanyu, once again, 20th. I'm going to have to start like taking a look back through all the results and figuring out what
I think
what
it's the last 8 races in a row he's qualified.
Oh my God.
20th.
Franco Colapinto 18th, Behrman 17th, and Lewis Hamilton 16th. This we'll have to stress that qualifying took part in mixed conditions and it was treacherous.
Yeah.
So there was a case of the track was ramping up, but if you also made a bit of a mistake on your lap, that was it. You were out. I think Lando Norris absolutely scraped through Q1.
Yeah, he's 15th, I think.
Yeah.
His lap was only just better than Lewis's.
Yeah, he was like 0.2 faster than Lewis, and that was it.
Yeah.
So Norris's time was a 30.944, and there are drivers here doing 29.0s. Oh, Max Verstappen popped in a 28.5 to go top of Q1.
Yeah, that's at the end of the session.
So that is 2.4 seconds quicker than Norris's time. So nice. That gives you an idea of how mixed the conditions were. So Q2. We should also say that we had several crashes out at this point, shouldn't we? So it was. Who was it that crashed? Hulkenberg? Hulkenberg crashed? It's one of the Hasses, at least.
Race. I think, did he have a moment at the last corner?
Let me check.
I don't think he crashed. I thought it was Colapinto crashed.
Colapinto definitely crashed, yeah.
And then I think it all descended in Q2.
Quali. Let's put that there and that there. Right, so we had Liam Lawson and a couple of other drivers testing out the runoff areas, including Zhou. Yep. This and Lance Stroll as well. This is all at like what is it? Jung Sao, the last corner.
Something like that.
Yeah, Franco was the first one to crash, brought out a red flag.
Yeah.
That was at turn 3. Just a snap under acceleration in the wet and just took him off to the outside. This was the one that sort of is going to be the most difficult for drivers like Behrman, Colapinto, because they've not driven these cars in the wet before.
No. Yeah, this was the big test.
And then to be asked to give it absolutely everything on full wets is rough. Oh, my pen fell off. There we go. Oh, Carlos crashed in Q2. That was a big one. That was...
Yes. Collar crashed with 5 minutes to go. Must have been 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, just under 6 minutes left.
I remember Lando was then 11th, and I was thinking, oh, fucking hell, here we go. But they were able to get around again, and then Lance Stroll happened.
Yes. In pretty much the same place as Colapinto.
Yeah.
I think... Did they let this one run as long as they could, though? I think they let that one run because it was so close to the end of the session.
Yeah, the Stroll one they let run for 40 seconds or whatever, which Red Bull were annoyed about because then I think people are saying Max was 10th. And then
when he crashed?
Run, he went when Stroll crashed, yeah. But I don't know, I haven't.
So he's 10th before the yellow flag comes out, and yes, he was 10th, like, by a second, okay?
Yeah, right, that's fine.
He's 10th, the yellow flag comes out, Charles Leclerc crosses the line.
Crosses the line, he's 11th.
And then he's 11th.
So he would have been out.
Yeah. So the top 10 at that point, with literally like a second since the flag has been flown, Alonso, Piastri, Leclerc, Ocon, Russell, Stroll, Norris, Tsunoda, Bottas, and Albon.
So Lawson, who was the lucky one.
Yes. So let's have a look at what happens here. Was it just Lawson that made it out of that? Let's have a look. So,
yeah, it must have been, because the others just improved their time, I think.
Gasly and Sainz stayed at the bottom. Perez and Max still in there, and Bottas was moved down to 11th. So yeah, just Lawson. So
they were wasting their own energy.
Should have gone out sooner. It's the risk you run in these conditions, isn't it?
Get in front of Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Should be key. Mixed conditions. Lance Stroll on track. Be careful.
So. But yeah, so with Sainz crashing out, that was another team with repair jobs on.
Yep.
So the drivers knocked out in Q2, as we've sort of discussed already, it was Gasly, Sainz, Perez, Verstappen, and Bottas. And then they red flagged it.
It was looking fucking amazing.
It was looking kind of peachy at that point. Red Bull in absolute... Because it should be pointed out that Max also then had a 5-place grid penalty for an engine swap.
Yeah.
So he wasn't 12th, he was 17th. But... It's
that was Miracle Drive.
Yeah. Bit of luck with the red flag, bit of luck with this, that, and the other, but you make your own luck. And it's not luck that... Oh, and Alonso crashed in Q3.
Q3, yeah, with Alex as well. Fuck, oh my, Alex's car
was absolutely smashed. There's no surprise that he didn't start the race. But...
He was in P2 at the time as well, wasn't he? Or P3.
Yeah, but going back to, I think Norris commented that, you know, they got lucky with like the timings of things and whatever.
Yeah.
Luck played a certain part in it, right? I'll accept that. He got a bit lucky with timing of red flags, timing of like decisions in terms of pitting or not pitting, whatever. It is not luck
Yeah.
that he finished 19 seconds clear of the field.
No.
That's just fucking good driving.
Yeah.
So, as much as luck played its part, luck was not the sole factor in Max's win. That's just fact. There's no other way to look at it.
That's why it shows the caliper difference. Difference in caliper between the drivers. Because there's sort of Max, then there's sort of Lewis, and then there's the others. With like Charles, George, Lando, Piastri. They're all there, but there's still another couple of levels to go.
The shock you didn't put Carlos in there as well.
Yeah, and Carlos and Fernando as well.
Yeah,
There's so many.
Yeah, Charles had a moment in Q3 where he almost spun it round, but then like seconds later, Albon's like, "I see your almost incident, and I raise you a completely annihilated car."
Yeah, and it goes like the Williams engine.
I thought we got rid of the one that crashed.
Yeah.
Now both their drivers have crashed.
No,
both cars are in absolute shambles. So,
and Fernando crashed as well.
Yeah, like, okay, so it's not the first time I've seen Alex Albon's is over the start finish line, and on the replay,
this was on break.
Yeah, on the replay, he drifts further right than I think he should. I think that's what causes it. Like he drifts right. He's all. I don't know. That's kind of hard to tell from the camera angle. The back right may have already touched the white line, but by the time his front right touches it, he's already counter steering to correct a slide. But the rear rights are already are wider than the front rights, aren't they? So he may have already touched it at the back, but he got a bit of a swapper on, and then that was it, gone. So, yeah. So Stroll finished 10th, Alonso 9th, Piastri 8th, Albon 7th, Leclerc 6th, Lawson 5th, Ocon 4th. Great qualifying for him. Didn't put a foot wrong. Sonoda 3rd. Again, great qualifying for him. Russell in 2nd and Norris 1st. However, the starting grid was a bit different, with Sainz starting at the back, with Zhou ahead of him, Hülkenberg ahead of him, Verstappen in 17th, Colapinto in 16th, Behrman in 15th, Hamilton in 14th, Gasly in 13th, Perez in 12th, Bottas in 11th, Stroll, and the top 10 was supposed to start as was, but obviously Lance Stroll binned it on the formation lap, and Alex Albon's car wasn't repaired in time. So
Lance Stroll binning it on the formation lap has got to be one of the funniest moments in F1 history. Without
so he went off. He went off.
Yeah.
He managed to not lump it into the barriers, and then just drives into the gravel trap.
Not badly into the barrier. The front wing did it.
Okay, like he boffed it. Yeah, but he didn't like twat it. You know, he didn't hit it the way that Albon did. But it's the fact that he backs it out and then just fucking drives into the gravel trap and says, "My day is done."
At the point that you spun it and stood still, his engineer's on the right. You can reverse back. You can reverse back, and he just fucking drives. It's on F1. The F1 TV fucking broadcast of it is so funny because the engineer's just that you can use reverse, and that shows your screen.
So, yeah, 5 red flags in quali. Lance Stroll binning it at the start of the race.
Half the grid deciding to racing.
Yeah.
Well done, Lando.
Yeah, that was great. It's fine. Everything is fine. From pole position to 6th.
Yeah.
Like, it wouldn't have been that bad. Like, after the red flag and everything, he was in an okay position. It wasn't terrible. And then he just drove wide. And lost, like, another 2 positions. And it's like, okay, fine. You're just doing your best to not win the championship at this point.
You're purposely fucking yourself. I seen a post on Twitter saying, I've said this before, but Verstappen is basically the new Schumacher, while Norris is the new Damon Hill. Explains why Hill likes him so much. He knows what it's like to have his cheeks clapped week in, week out by a better driver. It's a fucking... so good.
God. It's Max's first win since, like, what, Austria or some shit?
Spain.
Spain, Jesus. It's a long time coming. But he's still got a healthy... yeah, he's still got a healthy lead.
It's been 10 races since he's won. He's
now got
points 62.
That point swing that he got, because it was like 44 points after the sprint, right?
Yeah.
And now it's 60. That point swing, that's what Lando needed.
Yeah, it would.
That's the quantity of point swing he needed.
If you say that Lando was gonna, before like the VS, before the red flag safety car bit, you say that like George would have gone on to win, and then Lando and then Max in 4th-ish. It'd be interesting between now and the end of the season if Lando.
Yeah, because Lando would have had 18 points in 4th. Max would have had 10, so that would have closed it by another 8. Yeah. So that would have put it down to 36 points. That would have been nice.
3 races. It would have been
3 races and a sprint.
That is still.
It's an ask, but it's a lot more doable than fucking 62 points.
Yeah, it was more. It was that's the thing with Lando, though, is that he had to be perfect week in, week out to gain back the margin of 50-odd points. And obviously, one bad weekend like this, and championship in tatters.
Bernie Eccleston, bring back double points last race of the season. Give me 50 points.
Decided triple points. Verstappen wins.
Wins by 130 points.
Norris has led the past 50 laps, but he's decided to retire for no reason.
He's got a hurty tummy.
Yeah.
His ice cream was ruined. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was a great race, just in terms of action. Full stop. Like,
mental.
Mixed conditions makes for great racing. Brazil never really fails to bring that. You had Max coming through from the back. You had Lando with a championship fight on that he bottled. And then you've got a double Alpine podium that we haven't even touched on yet. The first time in 11 years that team has got 2 cars on the podium. And yeah, I mean, that's huge for them as well, by the way, because they're now 6th. They're 3 points clear of Haas. Right, hang on. So they have 49 points total. And
they gained 33 this weekend.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, they gained 33 of those this weekend. So they had 16 points.
Constructor. Are they highest scoring constructor this weekend?
Hang on, let me just check the sprint. Gasly picked up 2 points in the sprint as well.
That's 35.
Red
Max
Bull
got 26 in the race.
Red Bull got 6 in the sprint.
I think they were. I think they were. Because McLaren would have got 8, 7, 15, 23, 29. No.
They got 12 in the race.
27.
12 in the race and 15 in the
15
race. So, yeah,
sprint.
so 27. So, yeah, Alpine were the highest scoring constructor this weekend. Oh, my God. That is a phenomenal result for them.
What a start.
Yeah, Jesus.
As much as I've shat on Alpine,
We all
love
have.
to see their downfall. This is amazing.
Yeah. At this point of the season, with everything else going on, to just suddenly pop in a casual double podium.
Yeah. Especially with the fact that there was, 4 teams this year that are all on the pace.
Yeah.
Well, 3.5 with Mercedes now.
Yeah, there's 3 teams with over 500 points in the constructors.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. Mercedes are nearly at 400 points. They're on 382. And then half of the teams on the grid have under 100 points.
Yeah. It's mad.
So
it's also fun looking back to see an Alpine there, like, ecstatic with a double podium. Be like, I remember when our times were like that. Good fun.
Yeah.
You don't have to care about your driver fucking a championship.
In a way, though, that result is still good for McLaren.
Yeah, it is.
Because they've extended their
Somehow,
constructors lead.
They've had a shocker of a weekend and still extended. But that has to be the focus now, is constructors.
Yeah.
If we get to Qatar and Piastri's lead and they say, Piastri, get out of the way for Lando, I will be annoyed.
I mean, I'll understand it, but
I don't care if it's mathematically possible or not. You're not gaining 62 fucking points on Max Verstappen.
I mean, yeah, valid. But yeah, we'll see.
If anything, Lando owes Piastri a sprint win now. So get the fuck out of the way.
True. And it's like, it's 1 point. And I know that, like, they're at the point where every point matters, but, like, god damn, they could have, like, sorted their shit out so much earlier.
Just ruining Lando's career now. You fucked it for yourself, mate.
Oh, man. I don't think there's anything else to cover. We've got a week off now. So we'll be back next week with, like, shit, what is it next? Vegas? Vegas.
It is Vegas.
We'll be back next time with our Vegas predictions. Let's see if we actually get
Ferrari 1-2
practice sessions. Hopefully we'll get practice sessions.
And the fans not getting chucked out for them practice sessions.
Yeah. Classic. Yes. That'll do us for this week, I think. Unless you've got anything else. We haven't actually gone over the prediction results. Bollocks.
While you're looking at the prediction results, BBC Sport have posted which was the greatest F1 wet weather drive ever.
Oh.
Guess what won?
What are the options? Oh, wait.
The options are... Hold on. So the options are Jim Clark, 1963 Belgium Grand Prix.
Okay.
Jackie Stewart, 1968 German Grand Prix. Ayrton Senna at Donington Park in the European Grand Prix in 1993. Schumacher, 96 Spain. Lewis Hamilton, 2008.
And Jenson Button,
Max
2011.
Verstappen, 24. And Jenson, 2011.
Because the two that I immediately thought of were Lewis and Jenson.
British bias.
But I'd argue that Lewis's is better because it was just dominance. But like, Jenson had a whole load of issues. He got penalties, he got drive-throughs. Like, yes, he won, and yes, that was a cracking drive. But in terms of pure dominance, I'd give it to Lewis.
But Jenson won the pole
I'm not surprised by that.
Although I think out of all of them,
I honestly don't know enough
Senna's-
about the earlier ones to comment on
Senna
them.
93 is pretty famous. I think he started like 6th or something, and on lap 1 he was already leading.
Nice. Classic Senna. But, yeah, right. Results. Podium predictions this week have been a bit abysmal, thanks to a certain double Alpine podium that nobody foretold. See, now this is the kind of week. This is the kind of week. If we'd put in predictions for Nia, that she might have actually fucking
That's
won.
what I mean. I do wonder if within this season, because I think we've done it. Did Gasly get a podium in the Belgium sprint that she got a point for, or whatever?
Oh man, I think that was last year. Yeah, she just threw in a Gasly. Yeah. So the top score this week was Sonia with 2 points. Ben got 1 point, and then me and Chris didn't score anything. So
it's a Mourinho special this week.
Yeah. So that leaves Nia on 62, Chris on 63, and me on 79 still. And then Ben is on 84 and Sonia's on 85. So this is very much a tighter championship than the actual championship. Bold predictions. You said, Ben, you said rain for the race, brackets full wet. And I said that if they red flagged the race because of the rain, I'd give you 2 points. Now, they did red flag the race, but I think it was a combination of the rain and Colapinto's crash. So I'm giving you 1.5.
But I think Colapinto crashed because of the rain.
Well, you can argue that all you like, but we can't know for certain that it was red flagged just because of the rain.
7 seconds quicker at that point as well.
That's also ludicrous.
And they still wouldn't fucking pit just to stay on Inters because it's that. Honestly.
Yeah. Chris said Norris and Max to tangle again, but they didn't. Norris just drove off the circuit instead. And I said Verstappen does turn 4 again, and he didn't, because he didn't need to. So, lap down showdown.
Norris did turn 4.
Yeah, all on his own.
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lap down showdown. Chris wins this week after correctly guessing the driver and the lap down, but not getting the amount of lap downs correct, thanks to a red flag. So the final result was Zhou Guanyu on lap 30, and he finished 0 laps down. So, yeah, I came second with the correct driver, but wrong everything else. And now it's time for the results of...
Hey Sergio, welcome to Red Bull.
The Paris position predictions. The bumper edition for the sprint weekend. Ben, you won. Congratulations. You got his sprint finish correct. Everyone else got everything else wrong. So in sprint quali he was 13th. Nobody got that. In the sprint he was 8th. Only you got that. In quali he was 13th. Nobody else got that. And in the race he was 11th. And nobody got that. I'm annoyed because I was close on a couple of them, but alas, there's no prizes for close. So that'll wrap us up for this week. Thank you for listening and or watching, and we'll see you again next time for our Las Vegas predictions. Until then, bye-bye.